What's going on, guys? It's another Monday, so y'all know what that is. It's review day. So we've got the watermelon set up. We've got a new set of broadheads to test out. I'm gonna be honest, I've never shot any broadheads like this until I shot this one. So you haven't heard me say this yet. Again, could be bow tuning, could be whatever. So the broadhead that we're gonna talk about is the DeadMeat 100 grain. All right, so as you can see them there inside the package, it's got the snap lock. I will say this, shooting it at 50 yards, it was 3.5 inches away from the group that I had that was about 1.5 inches across. So am I a perfect shot? No. Am I 3.5 inches difference? Out of 3 arrows, it was the only one that flew off, and it was twice. So I will say that this one, so far out of the broadheads that I've tested, flew the most inaccurate at 50 yards. We'll talk about the packaging, right? So this comes with 3 broadheads. It's probably right there around that same mark, about the 50 bucks, 40 bucks. I went down to Max and I bought the rest of them, bought these as well. So Max Prairie Wings does carry them. Other than that, you can order them. My suggestion is off Amazon if you already know that you want them. Usually it ends up being the cheapest, so you can get on there and just kind of search around. So let's talk about them. It claims that it has a 1.5, so 1.5 inch cutting diameter. The hole in the bag at 50 yards, the way that it was coming down, it's kind of hard to tell. I didn't put this in one of my last videos. We'll talk about it again because it could make a difference on how these fly out of your bow. I shoot a Hunter XT Gold Tip 300, 28 inches long. I've got a 28.5 inch draw shooting out of the VXR with a 50 grain front weighted insert. So a plus side about this pack, one plus side is that right there. It's got your field tip kind, and I lied. These are $50 a pack, so a little bit on the more expensive side. However, it does have the little piece there, so it flies like a field tip. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I shot that versus the broadhead, because I didn't. I set up, did the same thing I do with all the rest of them. I shot 2 or 3 test shots with my field tips, threw one of these on, shot it as well. There's about 3.5 inch difference, so there you have that. The other thing it's got in here, I guess, is pretty cool. It's got your little tightening tool in case your fingers get real sore. You got real sore fingers trying to tighten them, so you're extremely safe. You don't cut yourself. I don't know, man. I screwed on a lot of broadheads without using the tightening tool. So actually, the last one that got me was one of the original Muzzies way back in the day, and it did get me pretty good. So, but I didn't know anything about bows and arrows at that point anyways. So anyways, I'm gonna quit talking and I'm gonna start shooting, because that's what everybody's here for, right? So I'm gonna go get the watermelon, get it set up. Again, we're at 20 yards. We're gonna see what this thing does and measure some holes. Good hunting. Watermelon. Let's talk about it. So, from watermelon to tip, we're looking at, right at 18 inches. So the penetration was not what some of the other ones have been. So, trying to see here. So it went in just like a field tip. I'm actually a little surprised here. Went in just like a field tip. There's no slice. You can see there where it actually kind of ripped the watermelon open, but you have a better view down here on this bottom side right there, just a little hole. So yeah, surprised. I thought it would be a bigger cut on impact. So the next thing we're gonna do is roll over to this back side. It's a 3 blade. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure each one of these holes. It's looking like each leg is about 7/8 of an inch. If I go from the tip to one to the tip to the other, we're at about 1 3/8 inches. So if it's calling it 1.5 inches, it's very, 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 very close to that. Let's go ahead and measure a hole on this side. It's kind of harder to see, and the reason being is because the 3 blade, back up, son. So with the 3 blades, it makes it more difficult to see the actual cut than it is, you know, just a single slice from one of the other ones. But we'll go straight across there. It's in between 1 3/8 inches and 1.5 inches. So I say what says on the package, that's It's as close as it's gonna get. So, Bo brought me my scissors outside because he's my hero. So let's go ahead and cut this dude open and see what these wound channels look like. I will say that I'm a 2-blade shooter, so, you know, whatever. But man, the 3 blades really do, when they hit this target, which for me would be more like an exit hole to an extent, they do a lot of damage. So what this did to the block of ice is absolutely cool as hell. That's the first one out of all of them that's done that. It just kind of took a plug right out of the middle. So, super cool there. Oh! Fell on me. I dropped the junk ice on my damn toe. That was rough. Yeah, that one. All right, so back again with the entry hole. I don't want you to look at the out here past my finger, because that's where it actually ripped. But you can actually see where it stopped at there. So the entry hole really isn't that impressive. It's not a cut on impact. It takes it a second to open up. There's nothing to be wrong with that though. There's a lot of them that's that way. So the wound channel kind of looks like a fixed blade. Kind of cool. Goes in, knocks a chunk out. This is the exit hole I was talking about. Again, one of them. So this is something that I was going to talk about whenever we got to talking about some of these fixed blades, is that ice. So even if you look at the inside of this, you can see this channel on this side isn't as big of a cut as the others. All right, so I really like to think that's the way that these broadheads open up whenever they lock back. I think that it's having an issue whenever it's hitting, you know, just like if it was a bone, if it was a rib, same thing. If it hits at a little bit of an angle, one of them doesn't catch as much and it doesn't open up. So I think you end up with something like this. Again, I'm not talking bad about the broadhead, but I will say that whenever you look at a normal 3-blade and you look at that one, you have one that's a big giant cut, one that's a little bit less, and one that's a little bit less. So there is no hiding it whenever it comes to the actual test and whenever it comes to looking at the wound channels. So if you're shooting this broadhead, I'm not saying anything against it, I'm not talking any trash, to each their own, or shoot what you're confident with. I say that all the time. But this test just showed with this broadhead being a 3-blade and the way that it opens, if it goes in, what I'm guessing is there's a little bit of an angle. Actually, I know there is where I'm shooting at. It's the same exact shot every time with every broadhead, but it is a slight angle. So just know that you can actually see where it's kind of kicked in the wound channel. So know that if you hit something solid with this broadhead, I think you have the potential. I think what happened was it probably hit. You can see how loose that is. Now, it was not a while ago. So the way that these operate is they break loose as it goes in, and I would say that one of them, you know, two probably function just like they were supposed to. They went all the way back because they caught that block of ice, quote unquote, shoulder first, and this last one just kind of lollygagged around a little bit, and the little engine it didn't actually get to its full capacity until it hit the actual target. And I will say that whenever it went to the target, it was pretty nasty looking. It's a great looking hole. But on the great looking hole or not great looking hole, that doesn't really matter because that's at the point it comes out of the deer. So wrap this one up. These are the DeadMeats 100 grain. One of the best sellers, actually. Not gonna say anything bad against them, but comparatively speaking to the other 4 broadhead tests so far, this one was actually the worst. It shot 3-inch different than my field tips out of my Matthews VXR Hunter XT Gold Tip 300s. I shoot the exact same arrows for every test, so I'm as accurate, I mean as normal as can be. I guess it's just repeating the exact same steps over and over. When we go buy the watermelons, we grab the exact same size, or within a 1/4 of an inch, and then the blocks of ice are the exact same. I use the same mold every time I make a block of ice. So if you're going to shoot these DeadMeats, hey, look, cool story. You can go pick them up at Max Prairie Wings. You can go pick them up at Amazon. When you get them, shoot them. Get your little, I understand there's a field point in there. Waste one of your broadheads, man. Back up at 50 yards, shoot it. Make sure it shoots well with your bow, because, if I would have took these straight out of the pack and went hunting, I wouldn't have been excited about it. It pulled high and to the right. If that deer was facing to the right, that's right up in the shoulder. Nobody wants to be there. I don't care what kind of, especially with this, right? Because we've seen the way it acted whenever it hit the block of ice. So again, one cool thing about it is, I don't know if y'all know what ram cats are. I'm a huge fan of the fixed blade ram cats. Haven't ran them yet because I don't want to just keep doing broadheads that I actually enjoy shooting. But when these are fully deployed, boy, they look a lot like a ram cat. You can't really tell, but this is also the first one that got any kind of damage to the tip. And it's got a flat spot from the block of ice. So I don't know how well, maybe if I put my hand up with it. Man, surprising. One of the more expensive broadheads, and let's just be honest, one of the poorer performers that we've had so far. So hey, again, I'm not telling you not to shoot them. I'm telling you, if you go buy them, go practice with them. Get out in your yard, set up something, shoot them. For the love of God, make sure that you shoot them against one of your broadheads. Don't just trust the field tip that's in the pack. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a broadhead you want to see tested, if you have a stand you want to see tested, or you have a product that you might want to see tested, leave it in the comments below. And if I can get more than one person to comment the same thing, we'll see if we can make it happen. Good hunting, guys. Season's getting closer. Knock those honeydews out and get your ass in a tree.